Dave Clark Five's Catch Us If You Can has three main parts, and we're going to get stuck in with the easiest part first, which is the verse. The verse is easy for three reasons. It only has two chords, and it has the simplest of strumming patterns. In fact, I'm going to show you what it is right now. Hold on a sec. You get the idea, right? There's one strum per bar. That's right, one strum per bar. And remember, in this song, each bar is made up of 4 beats, with each beat being equal to 1 down strum. And thirdly, it comes straight after a 2-bar intro. The chord progression that you can see on the screen now is very much like a practice one, something that you'd use once you've learned a couple of chords, which is why I think forget practice chord progressions and start learning songs once you've got a few chords under your belt. And you can see that it's 2 bars of G, a bar of E minor, and then another G. And that thing is repeated. Fantastic, hey? And who says that great songs have to have complicated chord progressions? Now, if you know any verse chord progressions that are easy as Catch Us If You Can, then let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you've got. So, putting that all together, this is what you'll get. 2, 4. So here's a quick transition tip for you when going from the G to E minor. And if you play your G chord like me with the 4th finger, 3rd finger and the 2nd finger, this can make life a little easier going to the E minor chord, because if you look carefully, you will see that the 2nd finger stays on the same fret. It doesn't move. So this can be your anchor point. Now that last bar of the verse kicks off the chorus, because the lyric Catch Us If You Can starts on that last bar. And it's the word can that begins the chorus chord progression. And let's have a look at that now. So you can see the chord progression on your screen now, and the chords here in this part are a little bit more difficult. We'll talk about the strumming in a moment, but I think this is probably the most difficult of the 3 main parts of this song. Now, if some of these chords are new to you, then take it slowly. You don't need to rush it. You know, because rushing it might make you mess up, might make you take longer to learn this song, and even make you lose confidence in your playing. So give yourself some time, and remember, it's okay to make mistakes. So we've got 5 chords, and each chord is played for 1 bar, like the verse. And G minor and E minor you've already seen, but now we have an A minor chord, which is another classic beginner guitar chord. But it's the B minor and the B7 that might be pushing you a little out your comfort zone. Now, if you're not sure how to play B minor or the B7 chord, or if indeed you just want to brush up on some of the chords here, then check the link in the description for lessons on those chords. But watch this first. The strumming pattern that you can use is something like this. And as you can see, it's nothing too complicated. As I said earlier, in 1 bar you've got 4 beats, and each beat can be a down strum. And you've also got ands, which are the off beats, and they're generally played on the up strums. One of the things I think you should do is put a little bit of oomph into that first strum. Now, this rhythm pattern is just a guide. You don't have to play that, you know, exactly like that. Play what you feel. The last 2 bars of the chorus are in E minor. And that's played like the verse, just 1 strum on the first beat of the bar. So let me demo the rhythm for you. I'm going to play it nice and slow. Have a listen to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's another quick transition tip from when you're going from the B7 to the E minor chord in the chorus. Now here's the B7, you can see it here, and the thing that B7 and E minor have in common is this finger here, the second finger. So keep that finger on the fretboard when you're changing. From the B7 you're going to lift everything except that second finger up, and then shove that third finger behind the second finger on the D string at the same fret. So I've got a quick question for you. What did Dave Clark do before he became a professional musician? And who are some of the famous people he worked with? Let me know down in the comments if you know the answer. The third part of the song that we're going to look at is the great harmonica solo and the chords that are played underneath that. And the harmonica solo was played by Dennis somebody or other, Dennis Payton. And he often plays saxophone as well on some of their great hits. So with this progression, we're going to keep the chords nice and simple, but if you want a challenge, stick around. The solo uses G, C and D, and for many guitarists, these are the first chords they learn. I know they were for me. Now this is mostly one chord per bar, and you can see the progression here, but in bar 7 there is a half bar of G and a half bar of D. And this progression is played twice, with the second time having an extra bar at the end before going straight back into the last verse. So another quick transition tip here. So when you're going from the G chord to the C chord, one thing you should notice is that these two fingers here are at the same frets, and all you're going to do is move them across one set of frets if you're going from G to C, or moving them back this way when you're going from C to G. Keep that in mind when you're making that change. And again, try not to move your hand too far away from the fretboard. So a little challenge for you. If you want to make that part of the song, the solo, a little bit more interesting, make it sound a little bit more interesting, then try using 7th chords. So instead of playing G, C and D, go for G7, C7 and D7. It changes the sound a lot. And if you're not sure how to play 7th chords, there's a link in the description for those chords. And after the solo, there's one more verse and one more chorus before it goes into the ending, which, like the rest of this song, is pretty uncomplicated. So the chorus looks like this, and you can see it ends with 2 E minor chords with just 1 strum per bar. And the ending is basically 1 more E minor, and then you're going to finish on a G chord with just 1 strum. Wonderfully uncomplicated, don't you think? What a song, hey? I think this is one of their best. It's certainly one of my favourites. If you want to do a quick run through, why don't you click the link here and strum along with me? Thanks for watching. Happy strumming.